Nothing is easy in love, especially when the subject of your affection is over 500 pounds with stripes.
We are CFAR.
We are CFAR.
We are CFAR. We are CFAR. Great love to give to each other and to us.
Without some type of conservation, most of the tiger species and the lions and the leopards too will no longer be with us.
You have to be extremely committed to these cats to even work with them. The cats know that we're committed to them, and
Welcome to a world where big cats rule the day. Join us as we follow the staff of CFAR as they introduce us to a world where big cats and humans need and love one another. These incredible and spiritual relationships are based on respect and compassion, but all is not purrs and nuzzles. Dr. Simba Wiltz is a practicing pharmacist working to bridge the gap between medications and the people who need them. As Senior Vice President of CFAR, his role is similar, except it is between our human world and that of the big cats. He has been working with the big cats for almost a decade and has been with the organization since its inception. Every member of this staff has a normal job life outside of CFAR that requires a substantial allocation of their time and energy. Dr. Wiltz takes us behind the scenes to meet his co-workers and, of course, the cats.
Every day that we get the entire staff out there to work, we have a lot of things that have to be accomplished in a relatively short period of time. We're feeding out, on average, around 750 pounds of meat a day, and that involves taking the meat out from the freezer, having it thawed, and occasionally actually cutting the meat to size, and then bringing it to every individual enclosure where each cat's food has to be carefully measured out and provided to them based upon the dietary requirements as given to us by our veterinarian.
All this specialized care comes with an imperative challenge.
Here's the problem in a nutshell. We have a situation in the wild where the tigers are not going to be able to survive in their native lands. We have a situation in this country where we have more tigers in captivity than we have left in the wild. And our situation is that we've got 12,000 cats in private hands or more, and they need people and they need homes. We have one of those homes. And as a result, we have to take care of our charges.
These cats belong to the world, and the Creator put them here for their own purpose and for everyone to enjoy, and they are an integral part of the ecosystem. If they can't be preserved, then this whole world is in deep, deep trouble. So we need to be thinking along those lines, thinking on a global scale, not just on a local scale. Both are important, but we've got to take care of everything.
3 principles guide CFAR in its mission: compassion, commitment, conservation. From directors to volunteers, all lend their time and talents to build a world for these cats.
We have some tremendous resources that allow us to do this. Everything from heavy equipment so that we can lift the heavy things to highly skilled individuals like our veterinarian, Dr. Scott Martin, and our 2 dentists on staff, Dr. Tom and Effie Blue.
My name is Tom Blue, and I am a volunteer with CFAR, Central Florida Animal Reserve, and presently a director and the acting president at this time. Maybe a little better from that arbor band finish.
Today is November 1st, 2009.
Yes.
And guess what that makes today?
CFAR's birthday.
Yes, it is CFAR's birthday, and I am here with Dr. Effie Blue, who has been a dedicated volunteer for many, many years.
Many.
Yes, and now it's going on. How long has it been that you've been working with the cats now?
About 9 years.
9 years. There has been a lot of change, a lot of transition that's taken place in the last 2 years.
Yes.
I want to take you back to when we were starting to make that transition. Tell me about what that was like around the facility when we first made that change.
Well, it was very difficult, but we made up our minds that we needed to do certain things, especially birth control, especially shift cages, which makes it a lot easier to deal with the cats and much safer for everyone and all the volunteers. And we wanted to make sure that they were being carefully cleaned, and the only way you can really do that is if you have shift cages. So we started adding shift cages to each cage that didn't have shift cages.
We inherited a situation that occasionally requires handlers to be in very close proximity to the cats. And because of that, we absolutely have to build a trust relationship with them to allow them to work with us and us to work with them.
Well, one of the biggest advantages of being hands-on with them and being close to them in that respect is being able to do what they need to be done medically. That is a very important thing. And one of the prime examples is Ahianka. She's got a hip problem and has had it probably since birth.
To strengthen Ahianka's hip, Sharon takes her on walks inside the compound. Ahi has done this for almost all of her life.
One of the most recent things I'm trying with her, on top of the natural supplements like glucosamine and L-carnitine, is acupressure. I'm doing some acupressure and a massage to help her body trigger some natural responses to compensate for her hip issues.
We as an organization acknowledge that there are people who have unlimited contact with their cats. We also feel that it's not our place to judge what they do with their charges. For us, contact is a means of ensuring health, of solidifying relationships, and encouraging cooperation. these cats are going to be in captivity for the rest of their lives. And because they're in captivity, they're going to have interaction with people. And it's our job to make sure that that interaction is as positive as it can possibly be.
Well, besides being my darling husband, he's just a gentle giant. And I think all the cats feel that. They respect him. Some of them are a little afraid of him because he's so big. And some of the males have a little bit of a time with him. But that's okay. He stays away from the ones that seem to have a problem with him. But everyone else just adores him. Kukla, our little cougar, she just loves him so much. It's just phenomenal. They have such a darling relationship with each other. And I'm just so glad to be able to share that with him and be able to do this together.
All handlers at CFAR are licensed by the state, but licensure alone does not guarantee a contact relationship. No visual media can ever capture the amount of time and dedication that goes into forming relationships with wild animals. What you are seeing is the result of a special chemistry, unique between each handler and cat.
I mean, Simba's a vital part of the organization. He works with the grant folks. He works with the audiovisual. He's done most of our website.
Simba's an incredible, very unique man. He's a young man, and yet he's got the wisdom of the ages. I feel like he's my brother.
He's been the idea person behind it. Not only the idea person, but the implementator as well. He's also an excellent handler. He's also excellent with the animals, which is sometimes a hard balance to find because lots of times people who are good with certain things aren't good with the animals and vice versa. But he's got a good balance of both.
Okay, we're here at the CFAR facility, and we've got Woozer down, who has just been neutered. But while he's down, we want to take an opportunity to go over him and look at some of those special adaptations that really make them the top of the food chain, make the tigers so very special. We'll start up here with the eyes. What you can notice is that the eyes of a tiger are round. They're not slitted like a domestic cat. They have cones in the back, which gives them full color vision. And there's also a special membrane in the back, which gathers the ambient light and shoots it back out through the pupil. And this is why pictures of big cats taken in the dark oftentimes appear with bright glowing eyes. His ears are actually like radar dishes. They turn around and they can seek and they can search out any kind of sound that they're listening for and then focus in on it where the predators focus. On the back, you'll notice that they actually have a dot here. And this is a false eye. Since these are ambush predators, other predators can't sneak up behind them because this false eye will actually fold back and it will look like the animal is blinking. If you look over his pattern here, you can see that he's got what we call a disruptive pattern. These stripes are unique. No two tigers have the exact same stripe pattern, and it goes all the way down into his skin like a natural tattoo. We've got a spot here on the back where he's been shaved, and you can actually see where that tattoo goes down right into his skin. Woozer has some of the biggest teeth of any tiger that we've ever seen. We've measured them out. That's over 2.5 inches long right there. But these teeth are deeply rooted into the skull, so they go way up into his skull, which means it's conceivable that he could have 5 to 5.5 inches of canine tooth. And that's a lot of pressure in those jaws. Some estimates are around 1,000 pounds of pressure per square inch.
People think cats don't listen, but sometimes it's scary how well they hear and interpret our requests, even when it seems like they're not in the mood.
No, it's not all right. Keep growling. I see you, chicken. I see you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so here's a normal claw. And you gotta really push down on it to get it to come out on that pad. But the dew claw, sort of like a switchblade. You just lightly press against that edge, and you get this massive claw that comes out. And this is sort of forms as the opposable thumb that like hooks something as soon as they smack it with the paw. It'll come right around. Nothing's getting out of that. That's definitely gonna be the cat's meal.
That's good.
That's amazing. Hands, but
Intubating, yeah.
you want to talk about feeling like you got small hands? Tiger paw.
Right now, all our rescue operations are suspended pending our move to a new facility. The sooner we get to a new location, the sooner we'll be able to resume aiding cats in need.
In April of 2009, CFAR was told by the Brevard Board of County Commissioners that they would have to move their facility. They were given 2 years to accomplish this task before the matter returns to code enforcement. At best, CFAR must maintain the current facility while struggling to raise the funds necessary to build a new home from the ground up. The worst-case scenario could result in fines that would bankrupt the organization, forcing all cats to be relocated to other facilities. Any cats that are not placed in new homes face euthanasia.
Regardless of the legal situation, regardless of the land situation, we are not where we want to be. In order for us to accomplish our educational and outreach goals, we absolutely have to move. That we have a timetable that's put on it adds additional pressure, but for us to take in more cats that are in need, for us to advance the purpose of having big cats in captivity in appropriate ways, we have to expand our facility to a location that will allow people to come and see these cats, because we want them to come and understand what they are and what they can do, because only by understanding are they going to have a desire to conserve them. We have the great fortune of having several young volunteers who do tremendous work for us. Colleen is one volunteer who has always gone above and beyond to make sure that these cats have a wonderful life. And it can be a lot of fun because she is very close to the animals and they do relate to her so very well. It's a joy to watch, and it gives everybody hope to see that there are young people who are interested in making a better life for these cats.
If you go to a zoo, at least me, like I feel that I have the ability to read animals because I've worked around them so long, and sometimes when you look into their eyes, you can just, you can get that connection with them. And here we are very social with our cats, and that makes a tremendous amount. It's a big difference because they're happy when they see us. Yeah, when you come and say hi to them, they just want to come and give you loves, and they get so happy to see you. And it's a big difference when they're just in an enclosure by themselves and they have no interaction. They're just living because they're getting fed.
Right.
And
just existing.
Yes, when they have the interaction with us like they do here, it's amazing because you really bring out the cat's personalities. You can, you can make them happy when they're feeling upset. When Shota died, for instance, the 2 males, Nikki would call for her every day, and it would make me upset because you just see the sorrow in their eyes, and you can tell a difference, a change in behavior from when they were with that cat, from when that cat's gone. They just, you can feel it, and they change, and it's really upsetting. But I think that's one of the main things that needs to happen when a cat is in captivity. They need to have love, tender love and care like you would give your child.
Simba, would it be acceptable for these cats to be released back into the wild?
No, and for several different reasons. The first, of course, is that they have bonded with the humans and the caretakers here. The second is that the wild is not entirely wild anymore either. There is a fundamental misconception about the concept of enclosures when it comes to big cats, whether they be wild or not. Regardless of the size, these cats all are still hemmed in. There are still human societies that have built barricades, set up parks, created entire systems to make sure that these cats have wild area, which essentially just means they can go to their own devices. But at some point, that cat's going to run into a fence. Somewhere along the line, there's going to be a border where they just cannot cross anymore, or else they get into dangerous territory. Dangerous is defined by us, the current dominant species on the planet.
But wouldn't they still be happier even if they had a boundary as opposed to a cage?
That's going to be an individual question. You know, right now we have millions of people in this country that drive every day from their nice large homes to go sit in an 8x8 cubicle in a 30-story building for 8 hours a day. Would they be happier if they could go out and work on a farm? Maybe, some of them. But some people, they need that enclosed space. That's going to be an individual decision. Our philosophy is that the cats belong in the wild. We are not trying to make it such that cats are all captive all the time, you know, with people. However, this is a problem that we have inherited not just in the last couple years, but from decades and decades of people seeing cats as a commodity, as something they can buy and sell, just like it would be a dog. And we're learning that's not the case. And the more that people realize that's not the case, the more people realize that we should try and keep them in the wild. But, as I'd like to tell people, if all those problems in the wild were solved tomorrow, we still have over 12,000 cats in this country that are going to need the people, that are going to need the homes, going to need places like ours to make sure that they have a quality of life.
Arguments are usually solved by seeing who can pancake the other one, laying on top of the other one, which we're at a severe disadvantage because we can't hang with that kind of strength. But they are intelligent enough to know our limitations, and they do generally a good job of making sure that we stay nice and safe when we talk to them. These guys, this is what they do for most of the day. Some of the criticisms that you may have heard of the idea of moving this facility is the idea of constant noise, constant, screeching of cats is the dramatic words that have been used, but really, as you can hear, the planes are louder than this place. Today is November 1st, 2009, and I'm here with Amber. So how long have you been volunteering out with us?
December will be a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. So she's been here through most of this transition and whatnot. Since you started, tell me about the changes that you've noticed in the environment and in the facility.
Changes. Everyone's happy. New cages are built. Things are done every weekend. Everyone is excited to come here. And, that's it. Everyone loves being here. Everyone loves being here. That's it.
Now, what are you, you're going to school now, so what are you going to school for?
I'm going to school now to be a physician's assistant.
Very cool. So we've got future PA here. Tell me, what kinds of things are you going to take from this experience? And what kinds of things do you take from the experience now?
Everything. I've learned so much just between communication, safety things, working together with a large group of people, knowing how to do certain things. Every day I learn something different, and even talking to Effie yesterday, she said after being here 9 years, she still learns something different every day. And I'll take that with me for the rest of my life.
It never fails to surprise us. What surprises us when we're out here? Tell me about something that surprised you in the last year.
Surprise as in with the animals?
With anything. What's surprising about being out here?
Surprising sometimes when you're bending over and you get sprayed in your eye. And surprising when you do something new and people let you do that and have the trust in you. And just mainly with the animals, the spray is surprising, catches you off guard.
Yes. Now, you've accomplished a lot in the short time that you've been here. Tell me something that you're really proud of, that you like to say, that's something that I'm proud of.
Well, recently I just started doing Fridays, and someone will be leaving, so I get to do pretty much everything by myself. And if we do feed that day, I can shift the animals or feed through the cages that don't have shift cages. And I can do everything else, meds, critters, water buckets, tubs, everything, except be a handler. So I love that.
Well, Amber, we are very pleased, and we're very lucky to have young people like Amber that's part of this organization. Here's a difficult question. How does it feel if I told you that you are the future of this organization? What does that make you think?
large responsibility because you have to be dedicated, motivated, and give your all. And you have to have your heart in this because there are people that come and disappear within the first week, and I'm not one of those. So I'm here for the long run unless I move out of state. So it means responsibility and owning up to what I say I'm going to do.
And you know, there's a lot of people in your age group that don't often have this opportunity to do this. What would you tell all those other people who don't get the chance to do this?
I tell them all the time, but like my friends and stuff, I tell them, you know, this is awesome, you could do it, but I've never met anyone that wants to do it just for doing it, just for the animals, the volunteering, no money. That doesn't get to a lot of people, so I always brag about it, but they're not the same.
What are you looking forward to most in the next 2 years?
Moving to the new facility, seeing a bunch of changes. The animals are they're gonna be scared at first, but then I think once they get used to the new facility, new cages, new everything, it's gonna be great, and everyone's gonna have a great and positive attitude.
Yes, come over here. This is Amber. This is the future of CFAR. You know, 2 years down, and we've got more to go.
Yes.
So thank you so much for
Thank
all
you.
of that.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
9 weeks old, I think. And I went to pick her up at the Orlando airport. I opened her crate, and here comes out this tiny little lioness. She throws both paws around my neck and starts licking my face.
Wow.
She's like, "Are you my new mommy?"
How
She
cute
was
is
the
that?
cutest little thing.
Well, she's broken this off. That pink area right there is the pulp chamber, but she's still got what we call the odontoblastic layer intact, which gives rise to the dentin on the tooth, embryologically. And so that can form reparative dentin and sclerose down into the tooth, lay down a protective layer. If it was bleeding or it was open, it looked necrotic or dead, then you'd probably want to do a root canal on it. And her canine probably goes up into here.
It's amazing how high these go up, yeah.
So you need veterinary files that are almost 3 inches long. So it's, as long as she hadn't exposed it any worse than that, it looks like it's pink. So it's got a fighting chance of laying down reparative dentin. Then it's best to go ahead and just coat it and do what we call a pulp cap, a direct pulp cap, and it'll lay down a layer of reparative dentin, and the nerve will retract back into the tooth. And the other side's even better. Cola had fractured her left upper canine into the pulp chamber. She actually took off about an inch of the canine diagonally, but the cell layer was still intact, so we put some calcium hydroxide and cefalozin, made
Antibiotic.
antibiotic, and made a little paste and laid it over to pulp cap it, put dental bonding agent over it, and then dental composite resin over that, and smoothed it in. And then we did a similar thing to the right side, which she'd only broken about a ½ inch off the cuss tip. And we don't know it, but it was close to a pulp chamber. So we went ahead and prophylactically capped it and coated it and smoothed it in as well. So
Cola's visit to the dentist was successful.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you guys here that can do this. There's very few places that can probably, let alone afford the opportunity.
well, thank you. It was a lot of fun, and we enjoyed it. And
We hope
it
it's
wouldn't have
gonna
been done
work.
without Doc Martin and the rest of the crew here. So.
Right.
Because obviously she doesn't open up like a human being and do what you ask her to do.
No.
You know, one thing that hopefully we'll be able to bring out is, especially with the way that the endangered species and stuff goes, people talk a lot about the tigers, but we're really losing lions pretty fast too. They are susceptible because they're so close to humans. They get a lot of the human diseases, and that human dogs will actually transmit disease to the wild lion populations. So like a couple of years ago, last decade, there was actually a canine distemper outbreak that killed a lot of Kenya's lions. And it's it's a major problem with the human-animal connection, trying to make sure that we don't pass diseases on to them too. Isn't that right, Cola?
Basically, all of us work with the organization because we love these animals, and it would be very difficult really to work with these animals if you didn't love them and they didn't love you. So we have a circle of trust. we're in their circle of trust, they're in our circle of trust. We love them like their family members. We're committed to housing them, caring for them. And so basically compassion goes principally to the love of the animals and taking care of them, realizing they're highly endangered in the wild, and making their lives as the greatest quality that we can give them. Since we can't release them back into the wild, we want to make their life in captivity as enjoyable for them as it can possibly be.
If there was one thing that you've always wanted to tell people, that you never had the opportunity to tell them, what would that be?
You know, I know that people think that tigers are apex predators and that they are incredibly vicious, and they are scared of them. But if you take the time to really be kind and sweet to them, you can really have a relationship with them. And they can be as gentle and sweet as could be, and then they can be very ferocious. So you have to always keep that in mind and give them all the respect that they're due, but yet still have a relationship with them.
When you're working around the cats, you absolutely cannot wear a mask. They will not accept you if you're wearing a human mask. They see right through it, and you have to come at them honestly. If you don't come at them honestly, then you're not going to be able to work with them at all.
We bond with the animals and we bond with each other. We are a family. You know, we really are, in every sense of the word. And we try to help each other in every way we can.
Sharon's just a rock. She really is. She's the heart and soul of the whole operation. I mean, she is definitely the hardest worker I have ever known in my life. And when everyone else is tired, she's still going. And even when we leave and go home, she's still here with the cats 24/7. When you look into their eyes, the love that we feel for them and that they feel for us, you can physically feel it. It's a wonderful feeling, and I've really over the years just amazed how much that a top predator can still be so loving and so gentle when they want to be, and they especially will find certain humans that they really just bond with. And I've helped raise a lot of the young cubs, and I know they trust me. I know they implicitly trust me. They know I would never hurt them. They know Sharon would never hurt them. They know my husband would never, Simba, all of the people that they grew up with. They know that we love them. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that they know.
Construction, feeding, enrichment, all performed by a dedicated band of volunteers. Ours is not an easy task. We have celebrated victories. We have mourned losses. Some ask us, is it worth it? Our response? Join us and see for yourself. In being here, they teach. In being here, we learn. What wonderful lessons will they teach you? What will you learn when you enter their world? We will never know the true stories of some of our cats. But how different is that from anyone you meet in life? Here, they're happy, they're healthy, and they're safe. And they show us their gratitude every time we visit. If they're telling me that that's good enough for them, then that's good enough for me.
were killing. I am a mighty lion, the king of all feline, the pride of every jungle. I'm running out of time. Alas, I only care when our needs be hunger, and why a man must care. I do not care to wonder. We are of a species certain to be doomed, threatened by extinction, not even to be mourned. But I will be your maid. All hail the lions of song. A lion must be brave, even when he is afraid.